Yes, I've heard of Mumbo Mania. I have been pinged that specific message probably, not an exaggeration, maybe 75 times in the last 48 hours. People just messaging me like, oh my gosh, have you checked out this game? What is this? Have you seen this? Do you know what this is? How do I play this? You know what? We're going to answer all that today. Yes, I know what Mumbo Mania is. Yes, I played through the game. And yes, it is in a game creation game developed on PlayStation. So I had to bust out the PS5, which I rarely do, by the way, because the games are so few and far between, and I did not expect to bust it out for Banjo Kazooie. So you know what? Why don't you just drop a little subscribe there, follow me on all my socials, drop a like on this video. Let's talk about Mumbo Mania. I feel like in order to get into Mumbo Mania, we need to first get into Dreams. Can I just point out how special it is that we get a Banjo fan game like this on a game that is titled the same as the early game developed by Rare that went on to become Banjo Kazooie itself? For those who don't know, Banjo Kazooie, before it was Banjo Kazooie, was going to be a Rare Super Nintendo game called Dreams. Just coincidence, but I love that little connection. Anyways, Dreams on PlayStation is a different story. This is a game developed by Media Molecule, the same company that developed the Little Big Planet series as well as Tearaway. Dreams is one giant creation game. Using the tools provided, people can create games, films, music, and art. It even used the PlayStation Move controllers. Do you remember those? They didn't even have joysticks, they were like little wands. I actually was a day one adopter of this title, as I thought it could be a good, easy way to get into develop some of my own games. You could say this is where I started really thinking about Abo and Sierra, my own 3D platformer I've been working on, but not wanting to limit the reach to this one very specific platform, I quickly shifted to Unreal to get serious about it. But Dreams isn't without its merit. Lots of cool projects have come from this game and its tools, including a few things like a music video for Noah Cyrus, which is just the most random thing ever, but it's there, it's a thing. Mumbo Mania was created by Eupholace? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but evidently they're a level designer at Moon Studios, which is very cool. Anyways, this is definitely a fan passion project. Mumbo Mania stays true to the Bear and Bird and is a 3D collectathon platformer. Here are the need-to-knows for this project. It's one level, a remixed, revamped version of Treasure Trove Cove. This is not meant to be our original trip to Treasure Trove Cove, but a sort of revisit to the familiar beach. It's sort of in line with those plans that Rare had for the original Xbox release of Banjo, where they chatted about remaking the original game, but when you visit the levels, things were different, and NPCs remembered what happened to them in the previous game. An example of this is Nipper not being here, but his shell is, and there's a little NPC telling us the tale of the legendary crab who was defeated in a great battle. The level layout, while largely the same as the original, does have changes. There's a lot of stuff to do underwater, for example. As far as collecting goes, there's a total of 30 Jiggies across the world, and I believe 100 notes, though to be honest I didn't count them and was handing them off as I got them with the literal Banjo character. Which was my personal favorite way to acquire Jiggies, by the way. It was like feeding Trough and Scoff. I loved it. The moveset we have is pretty basic. We can shoot eggs straight forward like in Kazooie, but there's no reverse shot. Although we do get a cool downward shot if we press the shoot button while in the air. Kazooie can also use the Talon Trot, though it's really not that much different in speed to the normal run, at least it didn't feel that way to me. And then Kazooie can also do the Rat-a-Tat-Rap in the air. Banjo can jump and flutter with Kazooie, roll and claw swipe, and that's the total of their basic abilities. Yep, there's no backflip, no ground pound. Some may say this is pretty bare bones. Do you get it? Never mind. The main gimmick here is having a cursor on screen with a little floating Mumbo head. You can use this to stun enemies and collect items, but most importantly, copy enemies if you have a set amount of Jiggies and transform into them. There are 5 transformations in Mumbo Mania, but they're all pretty unique and fun. You'll find use for all of them. Now getting into the level and actually playing, you'll probably notice that the Bear and Bird feel pretty floaty. It's not bad and you get used to it, but it only sort of homages to Banjo rather than feeling just like Banjo. It's overall solid though, and by your 4th or 5th Jiggy, you'll be totally fine about it. You may think the moveset would make things feel rather limited, but with the transformations, it actually feels pretty good. And the charm in this game is pretty much nailed here. Old returning characters feel like they did in the actual games, and the newly introduced characters are fun and help make this familiar world feel pretty fresh. Even the dialogue boxes are pretty spot on. The whole experience takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour to beat, and now if you ask me, this isn't like a game seller for Dreams, but it certainly is the second best project I've ever played on it. You'd think it'd be the first, but I actually have to give it to the recently released Courage the Cowardly Dog game, because that was an experience straight out of the cartoon and it was awesome. But anyways, Mumbo Mania was a really cool little fan project, certainly scratched a small part of the banjo itch I know we all have. That sort of came out wrong and made it sound like a disease, and it's not what I meant. Anyways, go try it if you can, it's a great homage to the series. On the real positive side of seeing little projects like this, it's really nice that Rare took notice and shared this tweet, and the fact that the tweet itself has like over 2 million views at the time of this video. That should show Rare and Microsoft that the Banjo community wants a proper Banjo Threeie. Hopefully someday. Well, that's all I have for you. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and check out my other videos. Until next time, have a good one. Jiggylookback!